Behind the Brand takes an inside look at the people that are making things happen. From up-and-coming entrepreneurs to the big guys, we show you how they go about their business. Meet the innovators with the know-how and vision to succeed. Get behind the brand. Hi, I'm Brian Elliott. Welcome to Behind the Brand. Today we're here with entrepreneur, wine enthusiast, businessman extraordinaire, and author, Gary Vaynerchuk. Gary, welcome to the show.
Thanks, man. It's good to be here.
It's great to have you, man.
I appreciate that.
So today we're talking a little bit about the thank you economy. Tell us about the book and why you wrote it.
I wrote it because I think there's a huge debate about the ROI of social media. I don't love that term, social media. I just think it's clear to everybody there's a change in the air. So I just want to talk about business trends and something that I'm seeing as the consummate salesman, as the guy who loves ROI, who wants to close the deal. It blows my mind that I'm transforming, that the businesses I'm involved with and consulting for are looking to transform, and there's a very different way to do business today. Ironically, all these new gadgets and apps and technologies are bringing us back to old small town rules, and that's what I talk about in this book. I tried to focus on some case studies, start to kibosh some of this that, social media is just like black magic, or that it's a silver bullet that's gonna save your business. I tried to write a practical book on a subject matter that I think has a lot of hype, a lot of overhype, and definitely some underhype, depending on which sector of the world you're at.
So who'd you write it for?
I wrote it for probably corporate America more so than my prior book, Crush It. Crush It was super entrepreneurial, like go do this, there's an opportunity. I became wine famous, internet famous, because this platform has emerged, and that's the internet. It's just the maturity of the internet. This is a little bit more for, you've got a business, you've got a logo, whether it's the Nike swoosh or it's your, lawnmower service that has 5 clients. Put that logo into play, humanize it, understand one-on-one marketing is here, use the tools that are 2011 based, not 2005 based, and there's some upside. And so, a lot of brand managers, corporate America, agencies, I definitely thought about this, and this is a very transparent answer. I'm gonna try to give you as much good stuff because I like you and I wanna give you some juicy nuggets. I wrote this book thinking like I want companies to buy 1,000 copies of this, right? So I definitely wrote it, Crush It was like, hide this book, people are gonna quit our business. This is very much like, oh crap, this is where the world's going. Our people need to understand this, let's buy 45 copies for our agency, or hey, let's buy 10,000 copies for all our employees.
So you buy 1,000 copies for the company. Are you hoping that it goes top down, or does it matter? Just can kind of go out there?
Yeah, as the consummate salesman, I want people to read it. Yes, top down works, bottom up works. I mean, there's been a lot of people who are inspired by this, who force the CEO to read it, and so it goes bottom up, then back down. When you're trying to move product, as long as you understand how you're doing it and you're not being cheesy about it, I'll come from the side, upside down, flip over, no shirt on, whatever it takes, whatever angle I can get it to go into, that's fine by me. I think it comes down to having quality content. And it's been funny, the book just reappeared on the New York Times and Wall Street Journal bestsellers list. That has, me excited. That feels like I'm running a marathon with this book.
Yeah, it's got legs.
A little bit, yeah, I'm excited about that.
Well, that's excellent. I wanted to know more about, the title is excellent, and a lot of people have talked that customer service is the new marketing. Talk to us about what the thank you economy means though, like what is that?
Yeah, so the word economy is a big boy word, right? I sat with it for a while. I was like, if I'm gonna use the word economy, I need to understand that people are gonna take pot shots at this. This isn't the thank you theory. This isn't the thank you moment.
Did you have some alternative titles?
Not really. I came up with a title because I was being interviewed about Crush It, post Crush It selling really well, and everybody kept asking me the same thing, like, how did this do so well? You didn't do traditional media, you came out of left field, why is this doing so well? And finally I said the thank you economy. And the host was like, that's interesting, what's that? And I'm like, I'm not sure, but I like the way that just came out. Let me think about it. And what it meant was, I paid forward so much to my community. I gave so much. I replied to tens of thousands of tweets. I replied to hundreds of thousands of emails. I put out 1,000 wine shows for free every day. That by the time I came out with a $25 product, I guilted, my community into buying it.
Yeah, they were already sold.
They were sold, and it's because and they were sold the same way you're sold on what you would do for your parents or your older brother or your children. There was context there. I had built up equity, right? They were my friends. And so I believe that is a business pattern that is developing. So that's what I've really tried to figure out. Why did that happen for me? Does that work for corporate America? That's why I started VaynerMedia. Listen, client work is like getting punched in the nose. Like, I'm not that interested in client work as an entrepreneur.
Right.
You know, I mean, this is not going to be my career. VaynerMedia is going to be an interesting step along the way, and I did it because I wanted to understand corporate. You know, I knew how to be an entrepreneur. I knew how to build a small business. You know, $50, $60 million business, that's a small business, right? Even though it's big for a family, it's small. I wanted to understand how billion, multi-billion dollar, 100 billion, these big market cap companies worked.
Yeah.
I started VaynerMedia. That's what gave me the ammo to write this book, because I know that the brand manager at Trident or at an agency or somebody who works on the Puma brand is gonna learn something from this. And I put those pieces together, and that's kind of why I did it.
So let's back up just a little bit, talk about your background, how you got from there to here. People who are watching this, a lot of the people are small business owners, entrepreneurs. They look at you, you know, with 800,000 plus people following you on Twitter and probably, you know, millions of web views on Wine Library TV. But how did you get started in all this? How did you get this job?
You know, I'm an immigrant. I wasn't born here. My dad and mom are my heroes. My mom raised me impeccably. She instilled obnoxious self-esteem in me, which makes me super confident. But I come from zero place. So I think I'm balancing that ego versus the humbleness of being an immigrant. My dad taught me great things, including that, which is the biggest thing that saved me, because as a storyteller, you know, as a marketer, there's that bullshit in me, and my dad was able to suck a lot of that out to give me the right balance.
What is that? Is that like my word is my bond?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely. I mean, and listen, I have so much chaos right now. I get hundreds, if not thousands of emails a day, tons of intake, and there's things that will fall through the crack. I have an assistant, I have people around me, so things will fall through the crack, but it's always how you make good, right?
Yeah.
And so like I fight fiercely for having a good legacy.
Well, I like that, because I think that's how most of small business is still done these days.
Absolutely.
It's done by relationship, it's done by, you know, handshakes and all
Big
that.
business too. They just don't talk about it as much, right? The mergers, the acquisitions, the big boy stuff, the big girl stuff. That happens with relationship too.
Yeah, you're right.
You know, I was flying down here, ironically, with a gentleman who was telling me about stuff he's done with the government. Guy was like 70, 80 years old and telling me amazing stuff. And just, you know, he said, it's all about relationship. I said, you're talking to the right kid.
Yeah.
You know, he's trying to preach it. I'm like, boy, am I sold.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm a 90-year-old man in a 35-year-old body. And he started laughing. We talked. Absolutely. I got here because my dad built the American dream for me. You know, he built a small family business, a liquor store business. I was whisked into it when I was 14. I have enormous entrepreneurial chops. I'm natural, right?
Yeah.
I'm like an athlete.
What kind of sales was your family doing at that time?
We were a $3 to $4 million business at the time I got involved full time.
Just wine?
Just wine, liquor, and beer.
Okay.
Shoppers Discount Liquors. From 98 to 2005, in that 7-year window, I grew it to a $45 million a year business.
Amazing.
And so I was very good. I'm good at what I do.
Well, people want to know how you did that, because that's...
I did that traditionally. Direct mail, radio, print, you know, that big advertising. I paid myself $27,000 a year so I could hire good people.
Yep.
I built infrastructure and systems. I collected data. I did everything you have to do. It's never one move. It's not having a Twitter profile or a Facebook fan page. It's not having a LinkedIn profile. It's everything. It's everything. You've got to do everything. I just left my biggest brand that I've ever built, Wine Library TV, to start Daily Grape because I wanted the challenge of building a subscription model and a mobile play. I'm pointing to my pocket. You know, I just think that I got here, I got there, I'm going to big places because there's a couple things I understand, which is number one, if you don't evolve, if you don't play within the reality of the marketplace, you'll get run over.
That's a very strong message throughout the whole book. In
Absolutely.
fact, on page 42, I kind of want to read this because it's like one of my favorite spots in the book. But there are too many businesses that are still holding back, watching the social media train rush by, convinced that if the destination is so great, another train will come along soon enough. They seem to think that it will be going more slowly and the ride will be safe and steady and they'll be able to catch up with everyone else who jumped on early. They're wrong. Though, the next train will come and it does show up. It'll be going fast and full speed to some other equally exotic and unknown place.
Yeah, I mean, thanks for reading that. I think that fast following is very interesting.
Yeah.
And it's a skill set. And as a matter of fact, I actually think it's something I would be naturally good at. I've come to the realization last 6 months that I'm probably not gonna start the next Facebook or Twitter, but it's very obvious to me very quickly when something's happening, and I'm always willing to go all in, and that's why I win bigger, because I don't hedge.
You're an early adopter.
I'm an early adopter, and more importantly, I'm an early business adopter.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of the people that were early to the social media thing were very zen. We're very journalistic. We're very, I'm business. I know there's an ROI to this because I practice things very quickly, and then I talk about them. It's funny. I don't dream of the future. I live in the future and then just talk about it. I'm never scared. The reason I always pound my chest and why I'm so focused is because I'm living it. I've had the ROI of social media happen already.
Yeah.
I've been living this every day and breathing it 24/7, 365 for 6 years.
Yeah.
This isn't new to me. People think it's funny when I talk about Twitter or new things on stage in 2011. I was talking about this in 2007, where people were like, what? So I act very quickly. I'm an early adopter, but I try to turn it into business very quickly.
Yeah. And you talk in absolutes, right? And
I
you're
do.
not apologetic about that.
I'm not.
It's one of the first things you say in the book.
I just think I'm right. I know how obnoxious that just came off, and then people, as I just delivered that, people are like, pfft. I just think I am. I don't know what else to say. And more importantly, it's because I've already felt it. I am not Nostradamus or Yoda.
Yeah.
I'm not predicting. I'm doing, and then I talk about it. I just happen to be doing it so early that it's so obvious to me.
Yeah. What does caring look like? You talk a lot about caring. You talk about nurturing your customers, taking good care of them. What does caring look like? What does it really?
What the best part, how you just asked me that question?
Yeah.
The answer popped to me so quickly, and it feels like so right to me. Every customer knows, every person who's watching this right now knows exactly what caring looks like. I think the consumer's bullshit radar is much better than we've ever thought. It's because now they can communicate with us and tell us. A Super Bowl commercial runs 10 years ago, and a couple people from the agency are sitting in their house, and their 10 friends who are watching it with them are like, that was so funny, and everybody high fives, and everybody thinks it's awesome. Now you go to Twitter and everybody tells you it sucked.
Yeah.
There's a very different world we live in today. I think consumers know what's going on. Caring looks like, to me, it's not something I see, it's something I feel.
Right.
And it's just very obvious to me when listen, people do nice things for you because they're trying to get the brand equity out of you for themselves. I see it every day. And then I see it when it's purely their intention for what's good for them. And then I see relationships where it's good for both. And then I see relationships that are really zen and they're just trying to do it good for you.
Yeah.
I actually prefer the one in the middle. I'm not comfortable with somebody just doing what's good for me.
Right.
I'm not comfortable with that.
Yeah.
And I'm not comfortable with the person that's just trying to suck out my brand.
That's pretty rare anyway, right? I mean,
Which ones?
The one that they're just trying to do something for you. It
You
feels.
get some artistic people out there that are going there.
Yeah, but.
I love the middle. And I love when people don't bullshit the middle.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you brought me out here and this and that, but it's good for you too, and let's work together. I love that. I hate the people, and there's a lot of them. The leeches, they want it all for themselves, and that's big businesses. That's a small one-person entrepreneur.
Yeah.
It's what's in it for them.
Right.
I mean, it's very rare that I do business with the people that come at me like, I want to do this, and they're not hiding that there's some inherent value for them.
Yeah.
They don't have to make it at the forefront. I don't need somebody to come to me and say, hey, this is going to be awesome for me too. I don't really need you to do that. I think that's almost untold amongst entrepreneurs and business people.
Because you get it.
Because I get it.
Yeah.
And what I've gotten much better at is I put higher value on that for me, and brands need to do that, businesses need to do that. The customer's not right. Don't be scared of social media because somebody says your place sucks. You go and jump in there and debate it. I mean, it's all a level playing field now, and so caring is something I think every person here feels.
And in the book, you talk about if this were, the early 20th century or earlier, this wouldn't be anything new. But because we're in this digital age and it's becoming less personal, this caring about people one-to-one is kind of where it's coming back around to, right?
How expensive would it be for you to run a commercial during Friends in the 1990s? Damn expensive.
Yeah, millions.
Everything's changing. I mean, people are even watching commercials. I want the people watching this right now to think if they have a DVR or TiVo and don't watch a single commercial all year. I mean, those numbers are growing, they're staggering. The world is changing. This is the biggest culture shift we've ever lived through. And it's not social media, it's the internet.
Right.
The consumer internet, the one that started in 95. I don't want some nerd saying, actually, Gary, it's 1950. I know. I'm talking about when people started using it.
Yeah.
When AOL spammed our actual mailboxes. That thing is a baby. That is a 17-year-old product. It's 5 minutes in the scheme of business.
Yep.
It's revolutionizing everything, and the at-bats that every business now has costs less. It costs sweat equity. It's tough to scale. The value's in the humans, but it's a culture shift, a big one, and it's leveling the opportunity for different businesses to do different things. And the companies that understand it will survive and win, and the ones that don't will lose. Plenty of businesses went out of business when the television age came.
Yeah.
Plenty of businesses went out of business when the video game market came. And look at the soap opera industry going out of business. Why? Farmville. Women are playing games on Facebook instead of watching Days of Our Lives. And so I just think that I'm stunned that people don't recognize how obnoxiously big this all is. I mean, and it's gonna be, I can't wait to watch this in 5 years and be like, see? Because in 5 years from today, the world's gonna look totally different. No YouTube, no Facebook, no Twitter 7 years ago.
So Gary, who's doing it well? What brands are doing a good job with the thank you economy or social media in general?
This is tough, right? Because this is where I think I'm doing a really bad job. I know our clients are doing it well, and that's like the cheesy answer. I'm not spending a lot of time paying attention to other people. I think some people may view that as a strong weakness. I view it as a strong strength. And there's probably, the right answer is probably a little bit in between. I'm probably doing a little less paying attention to competitors and other brands than I should be. So this question's tough. I hate that I'm probably not answering it as well as I could.
Well, let me
but
put
that's
it
the
this way.
truth.
Yeah, well, you were a little bit critical of the Old Spice
I
campaign,
was,
right?
because the Old Spice campaign was a social media campaign which doesn't exist. They did this hoopla. A lot of people know what happened. You know, they took the guy from the commercials. They amassed a lot of people, got a lot of followers, did YouTube videos, did one-on-one marketing. They did, listen, if you read it carefully, I give them a lot of credit up to the last point, which
So that's
is,
what they did right.
they did almost everything right.
Okay.
They created context in the character. They made it one-on-one. They link baited Kevin Rose and Alyssa Milano. They went into Reddit. They did almost everything right until the big money shot, which is that they let that community sit there and they left them.
Yeah.
They left the community. And so I think that was a huge mistake. I think that, and what to people that didn't see it, they amassed tens of thousands of Twitter followers and then @replied one of them in the course of 6 months because they just wanted to mass them. They looked at it as data collection. They looked at it as an email newsletter.
Yeah. It's that old collection versus connection thing.
That's a very nice one. I haven't heard that, believe it or not, that often. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. It's the one night stand versus marrying somebody. They one night stand their customers. I think you need to marry your customers because I think we're all going to map, and this is it. Anybody watching this video, this is the moment you've been waiting for. This is the only thing you need to take away. We are going to map through UI and UX, through ad platforms, through A/B testing, we are going to map customer acquisition.
Awesome. The Holy Grail.
Facebook and technology is going to help us map. Why do you think Farmville and Groupon and Guild Group do what they do? We will map customer acquisition, the battlefield going forward for all of us, production companies, wine guys, business peeps, is going to be retention, lifetime value. And the only way you do that is by giving a crap and being human. The businesses that understand how to get there in a scalable way, whether they're $1 trillion or $9, are going to be the ones that are relevant going forward.
I like that. A lot of the people who are watching want to know, sort of want to break this down probably and understand, you say that the Old Spice campaign was great in many ways, but they fell short. They fell short because they didn't respond or engage their people. They were just collecting. Now, I think on the Old Spice campaign side, the brand managers might say, we sold a ton of product. We did great. Our ROI was, through the roof, better than expectations.
They were on coupon during that time.
Yep.
So debate of, of what really helped move the product is there. But they did do well. They got me to buy a stick of Old Spice deodorant. I did. I went to CVS. I saw it. I was like, oh, it kind of all resonated.
Yeah.
This is branding, right? Impressions, emotion.
Awareness,
I bought it. But then, and not a lot of people are gonna do this and they're not worried about my business, because they handled it so poorly, now I don't buy it. And they've lost my business forever. So they did more damage than they did good. I think it's a very interesting debate. What I know is this, I don't believe they created any lifetime value. And I don't understand how to go forward without lifetime value.
So then what's the lesson here for small business owners and entrepreneurs?
That when you invite 80,000 people into your universe and you got them there because they're excited, you don't just never talk to them again. And that's just, everybody understands that. A new restaurant that opens, you don't run a bunch of ads in town, everybody gets pumped, you got a big time chef, everybody shows up, and there's no employees or anybody talking to them.
Yeah.
They didn't follow through. They didn't follow through. Every woman out there knows exactly what I'm talking about. You had a great date, it went awesome, and he didn't call.
Yeah.
How does that feel? Like crap. That's how those customers felt. There was no engagement, no relationship. And in a world now that we live in, which is based on word of mouth, were based on word of mouth, because that's what Facebook and Twitter are bringing to the table. It's bringing word of mouth on steroids, where context is being created. I like this pizzeria. I hate this burger. I like this airline. I hate this hotel. These impressions are being thrown at us from our friends.
And being indexed, by the way, right?
Absolutely.
Yep.
But more importantly, when your aunt says that this place is delicious, instead of an advertisement, it matters more because you have a relationship with your aunt. That endorsement matters more.
Yeah.
And these things are happening. The way we do business is changing. It's gonna be a lot less of talking and a whole lot more of listening. That's a culture shift from the way we've done business for the last 150 years, and there's a lot of pain in changing into that game. It's kind of like businesses have been playing basketball for the last 200 years, and all of a sudden we said, you know what? It's now about hockey. Some people aren't gonna translate.
Gary, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, man.
Lots of fun.
Yeah, it was good.
Gary Vaynerchuk, author of The Thank You Economy. Go out and get it.